Here's more from JD Vance on immigration. Here is what maybe 48 has to say.
I want to make this point about immigration, okay? If you ask the question, what is the exact right number of immigrants for the United States to let in, it is just very specific on the context. If you go back to the 1920s, the United States passed an Immigration Reform Act that effectively cut down immigration to close to zero for 40 years in this country. And what happened over those 40 years? The many people who had come from many different foreign countries and different foreign cultures, they assimilated into American culture. And there was an expectation that they would assimilate into American culture. I think we have two problems in our immigration system today. And my guess is you're probably a slightly more leftist political persuasion, liberal political persuasion, maybe not. But here's the thing. I remember back in my establishment GOP days, when I was still very early getting involved in Republican politics, I remember a conservative think tank person who told me that one of the reasons why immigration was really good is that if you had enough diversity in a country, people would mistrust each other and they wouldn't join labor unions. Okay? So when I see a lot of left-wing people who theoretically support organized labor saying we need to flood the country with a limitless number of immigrants, they're unwilling to set any limitations on it. My response to that is you are destroying the very social trust on which American freedom and prosperity was built. And that is really important to me.
Yeah, so that doesn't sound much different than what we're already talking about now, like the great replacement theory, right? Bring people in to water down and disintegrate the culture of the existing nation state, so that you can recreate it in your own image, however you want to. And if everybody's fighting with each other, then you can do whatever you want and just fund whatever you need to fund and placate all these different groups. And everybody will be warring with themselves, not warring against the elite and the oligarchical class, which is how our system is ultimately set up. And they don't want that to happen. Nice answer, I think, from JD, and some good history there. Didn't know that about breaking the unions. So again, they want foreigners to come in to undermine our infrastructure. It has been the pattern forever in America. Now, we also see another question here from JD talking about being a Christian nation. Here's what JD had to say about this, little shorter clip.
I think the premise of your question, I don't totally share it because I don't think perfect neutrality is possible. What is it? You talk about history. Was Christopher Columbus a great explorer, or was he a guy who committed genocide against the native populations? These debates, I'm happy to have them, but I reject the idea that there are truly neutral debate.